Hey, you there. Thank you for watching, and welcome back to Force Alliance Forever. Today, I have another 4v4 ladder match on the map Lost Lands, which is a 20 by 20. Let's go ahead and introduce our players. Starting in the north with Team 1, the red team, starting with this little island slot in the rear. We have Hannibalo going first land in yellow as an Aeon, and going first land. To his west, we have Path Knower going first land as a Seraphim in red. That thing away, there we go. Northwest of him, we have Terminator 619 going first land in rust, as well as going Cybrant. Sorry, that's orange, not rust. Right. Last but not least, for Team 1, we have Strife in the north going first land and Crimson as an Aeon. That's the players on Team 1. Let's go ahead and introduce Team 2, starting with that island slot here in the rear. We have Chaos Spur going first land in teal as a Cybran. Next to him, we have the Tant Lards. Wow. Cannot spell. Or spell. I cannot speak. Going first land in blue as a Cybran. West of them, we have Broby going first land in purple as an Aeon. And last but not least, for Team 2 for the game, we have Verve going first land in navy blue as a UEF. Just to take a look at the reclaim very quickly. Lots of reclaim on these little islands here for these players that are pretty much going to be focused navy, but probably will go into air as well. There's a couple, rocks and whatnot on these smaller islands, but it's pretty much going to be most of the reclaims on this center island here. There's a huge amount of mass points this map. You can see this 5, 10, 14, 18, 21, 24. It's just on this outer edge. And then there's these 2 extra islands, each sporting 9 apiece on these northwest and southeast side. So again, there's going to be lots of expansion, lots of transports coming out to scoop up all of those mass points and get the generated eco accelerated very quickly. We have multiple comms moving into this middle section. Again, there's a lot of avenues of attack. You can see you can even walk around this little hill section all the way around. So possible run-bys here. You can split your forces going this way. Again, you have like the main kind of lane over here, and again mirrored on this western approach as well. We'll have to keep a watch out. There are ramps for both sides to these upper plateaus. Lots of areas of access, lots of areas for players to have to deny their enemies' movement. Lots of little choke points. As you can see, we have, some hills and some mountains. So they provide a nice little choke points. Lots of places to build fire bases up for defense. Again, this is a ladder match. It is 98%. The lowest rated player in the game is Chaos at 1155. Highest rated is on the same team. We call him D at 1704. So it's pretty much the average, or like the median, not the median, the average versus like the extremes in terms of player rankings. So best to watch out for the Cybran player of D. And again, racial disparities for Team 1. We have 2 Aeon, a Seraphim, and a Cybran, so they're missing the UEF tech. It's going to be unfortunate, especially with all of this water. You want those Governor classes, you want those Neptune classes ships. And for Team 2, we have 2 Cybran, a UEF, and an Aeon, so they are going to miss the Seraphim tech. They're going to lose out on those Yolana Osses. They're going to lose out on those Os Washers. They're going to lose out on the battleships that have nukes on them as well. And we have transports going out to multiple islands trying to get that early land claim. We have a bomber out from Terminator, taking out a engineer here, trying to deny some expansions. We have the comms of Strife and Terminator kind of starting to form a center line here, as well as for Brobery and D on this northwestern side as well. We have an expansion out here to the west of Verve, most likely going to start grabbing these other islands as well. Intel is going to be very important for this game. It is a 20 by 20, so lots of ground for players to cover. Gotta know what's going on at all times. Probably have constant spy planes and air scouts just kind of circling the map. That would be my best bet here. And in a lot of these 20 by 20 maps, there's not a whole lot of action in the first couple of minutes, of course, which leaves perfect time for me to get some all-day players introed and early strats and whatnot. We have a Belen with this little Tham trying to push some aggression onto Team 2, but again, they're going to get caught by these spirits and wars, and this little intel raiding party is going to be the way of the dinosaur. We have some Navy starting to appear for both players. Team 2 has 2 players in the Navy so far, with Team 1 also having 2 players in the Navy. It looks like the west of this island and the east side of this island are going to be focused by these players here. And we might see these central players kind of dip into the Navy as well, but that'll probably be later on, probably the 15 to 20 minute mark, when the middle starts to kind of have a no man's land. A group of these Thams going after these Auroras. Again, these tinfoil Auroras, to use Guile's term. Not a lot of armor on them. They excel at range, so close quarters combat is definitely not their strong suit. Gun speed going down for Brobery, and that's going to finish pretty quickly. Here we have the Com of Strife pushed all the way up to the middle hill on this northwestern side. Most likely we'll see an easy push up here to try to knock the Mantis off of that plateau. We have an attempt to take out this this Mantis from that bomber, but the Mantis stopped short and those bombs missed. Decent sized land force starting to be built up for the Com of Brobery here in the middle. We have another attempt from the red player of Path to try to start doing some economic damage. We have a Zooey out as well. In the Navy section of the map, we have this sub taking out this Thunder class frigate. Again, frigates can attack subs, but there is a sub in tow starting to reinforce that position. More raiding going out in the north, trying to deal some economic damage and expansions. Looks like we have some of these Auroras. They can float, of course. They're on this on the water, so they're not hindered by either legs or wheels. We have a couple named units with like Griffin, Eagle, Falcon, all these bird names, and then Overcharge. Maybe saying for somebody's comm to go overcharge that little scout, that oh, what are they called? I forget what they're called, because again, when you name a unit, it changes the actual like class, like Aurora, all of that stuff. More naval production starting to be focused for both players. Looks like they're getting another naval factory up and running. We have one naval factory here to the west for the Com of Delantis. We have 3 on the east side for Path Knower. So they're focusing more on Navy, trying to wall up all of these land incursion slots. We also have his Com out here kind of on a patrol route, kind of moving along, making sure there's no run-bys on the cards. More movement going down here in the middle of the map. Again, land army starting to be grouped up. The numbers accelerating. We also have transports out from the back line. That's very important, allowing him, the Terminator, to reinforce and resupply his position with more and more troops faster. Also dropping in some engineers, probably going for Cerberus ship, going for that Cerberus, trying to lock down this center slot, prevent any enemy units from coming in either from this direction or this direction. You can still go all the way around, but again, that takes more time. And Team 1 has the Com of Strife for this northern section anyways. Gun damage and range going down for Ferv, and then gun damage going on for Strife as well. Com of Brobery leading the charge into these Mantises. I think it's Mantises. And Terminator coming to try to knock him out. Again, going up against a double gun Com for Brobery. Terminator doesn't have any upgrades on his chassis, so You might want to start backing up, because he is not going to make it out of there. He could actually get on that train. I think T1s can carry ACUs. I know the T2s can for sure. I'm just trying to think if the T1s can. Off the bat, T2 on the way for a Ferv. Air wing of these interceptors trying to just patrol the area, making sure nothing comes out of any surprises. Team 1 looks like kind of on the back foot in terms of expansion. Team 2 is getting pretty much both of these. There's a transport out for that secondary one. But Team 2 getting this corner expansion as well as going for this other one. And they actually have more of these islands. They have 3 of the 4 kind of secondary islands. We have a run-by occurring here in the middle, trying to spear all the way through. We have a couple of these blazes, the T2 units trying to defend as much as they can. Again, more health, more damage for these blazes. Starting to whittle all of those forces out. We have a T2 extractor that has gone down, but that's really about it. And reinforcements from the east come to help support. We have the combo Broberry here in the middle, overcharging into the chassis of that Terminator. And it looks like he might just... Broberry could push. He could push and actually secure the win just because of that, the range on that comm. You can see how he's pretty much would be in range the entire time, but he didn't start walking when he probably should have to secure that kill. We have a run by that tried to really happen, but was intercepted very quickly by Strife. A couple units are going to be able to make it though, but if they don't start moving pretty quick, they are going to die to that comm. Comma Broberry tries to go in, realizes that firebase is not something I should just walk my comm into without support. Would like to see some of these units break off to try to help support, try to break up that those targeting on those Cerberuses, but again, not really a priority right now. That transport does go down. Looks like Broberry did not want that transport being used to funnel troops to the front lines. And we have the troops out from Ferv trying to just hold position around this kind of, segmented out path. Again, you can see the walls built up. We have this point defense, this T2 point defense out from this Seraphim unit. Well, Seraphim Com, Seraphim Commander. They are very much do not like this little cliff they're hanging out, trying to target, and that's what you got to watch out for again with FAV. You have these, cliff sides, valleys, rivers, all of these things that do affect combat, and you got to be aware of, especially with units or structures that do direct fire. Like they have to have literally a direct line to hit the target, and if they don't, then they're just going to hit the obstacle. They are able to hit some of these backline units, so that's good to see. But a lot of their firepower, their damage is being mitigated by that little cliffside that they're on. More and more T2 Cerberus is being built up. Looks like the comm of Broberry trying to take out that forward factory. It's not going to amount to a whole lot, because Terminator could just build another one behind here. Shields, these asylums being used to help defend the comm of Broberry. That's very good, especially for any strap bombs that might come overhead. We're at the almost 14-minute mark. If you've been enjoying the cast so far, please like and comment down below about who do you think is going to win. It's pretty much even so far. No one's died. There's a little bit more map control for Team 2, but besides that, anything Team 1 can't come back from. And again, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. I try to have a cast out for everyone every single day, so expect more and more content, of course, as time goes on. I'm almost at 200, and at 250, I'm going to be putting out another community post asking for your guys' suggestions on games, maps, types of games, I think in terms of like, Pro versus Joe or something like that. And feel free to participate. Again, I greatly appreciate all of the support I have been getting and continue to ask for that support, because again, it does motivate me to keep doing more and more of these casts. We have the comm of Strife kind of just hanging out by this cliffside over here. He can't be targeted by anybody. and decide that that's probably not a good place to sit. He can't target up, and they can't target down. We did have a run by kind of on the cards for him, but this gunship, this renegade, is going to be able to take out the rest of those forces, and that asylum is just going to die. No offensive capabilities. A lot of these T2 units trying to flank the comm of Strife. Strife trying to get out of there, and a lot of these units just kind of trailing in one by one, trying to just block off the comm, but there's an asylum nearby. If there was a strat bomber, if there was some gunships, maybe they'd be able to kill him pretty quickly, but unfortunately there is a strat bomber overhead for the orange player of Terminator, so T3 has been achieved, and he's going to try to target that comm, but again, because of those asylum shields, it's going to be hard pressed to break him. There's a nice group of Blaze that could be a nice target, but he's going to go back for the economic damage. ASF's in the area trying to take out this bomber, and it's almost down. Takes out one of those mass points, goes for another one. Try. Nope, that turn was not really worth it. And you can see the mass cost, 358 for 1,000. That's definitely not what you want in terms of trades. Cerberus on the hill trying to take out the rest of those forces out from Strife. Strife pretty much all alone now, and should be probably walking back sooner than later, because, or at least this way or something, because he is super outnumbered here on this northwestern side. We also have these blazes as well, so he's got to move right now, and Team 2 notices he's going this way, and they say, okay, just send him in his path. Take out all of that infrastructure along the way as well. Also an added bonus. Let's check on the naval side of things. The base, the little expansion up here to the north, was taken out by Team 1, and it's currently not really being held. Team 1 could easily just come in and take that. All of these T2 units over here are going to prove very difficult for these frigates to take out. There's a lot of damage on those T2 units. Comm of Terminator gets a T2 upgrade on his comm. We have some T1 artillery lobbing shells onto the comm of Strife. And again, we have some reinforcing units out from Terminator as well. Good to see that communication and those comms working together, those players making sure that no one gets left out in the dust. We do have a possible run-by on the cards. A lot of T2 units, because this comm of Strife was distracted and pulled back. We do have a destroyer out, Exodus class, trying to mitigate all of that damage, but all these Blaze, all of these units, all these Auroras have to just keep pushing. They have to keep pushing, because they're not really going to get anywhere. Or they could just come in and just ambush the comm of Strife. Base wars going down. Well, I should say base wars. There's a fire base over here for Terminator, and just some units kind of just lobbing, oh, apologies for that, lobbing some missiles at that base. So shield going down for Broberry as well. It's going to get some nice temporary hit points for him, making sure he doesn't just get strap bombed, which he was earlier. Comm of Strife pulls back to those units, and this is really not going to mount. Yeah, they take out a couple mass points. That's going to be easily rebuilt. Not a huge issue. This one was T2. I think the other ones were T1. Hard to tell, because when you have all of these shells lobbing, it does reduce the mass there, so it's hard to keep track of all that. Looks like the comm of D is being signaled for something. He probably should get a shield here, or he's just a teammate saying, hey, you should probably pull back just in case. And like I mentioned earlier, those Crimson units from Strife in that north section just taking out all of these frigates. Need some T2 units on the cards. There isn't any anti-air in this mix, which is very disappointing, because these two gunships could easily just take them out. There's a couple, again, some Exodus class on the cards, as well as some frigates and subs in tow to help reinforce. Cruisers, those don't know how to pronounce those T2 cruisers out from this. The Seraphim also have the Governor class ability of just launching missiles. So Team 2 has to keep moving his units, specifically Ferv. We're seeing some tactical missile defense here in the back line. That's very good placement. And you can see the coverage on those. We cover a decent section of those further back mexes and whatnot, just to ensure there's no missiles or anything try to get lobbed behind. Usually they come from those tactical missile launches, which I don't see any on the cards. There's a couple artillery, but those aren't missile launchers. There is a push here in the middle trying to pierce the front line of Team 2. I don't really believe this is really going to go anywhere, only due to the fact that, again, you're going into a choke point and going into a thinner area of the map versus this wide area that you have, so your units can spread out. But when you force them into these little, choke points, pretty much, it makes it hard for movement to really... Like, it's hard to get those units through that little channel versus the wide berth that you have over here. So it's pretty much funneling them into a choke point, pretty much. And like you see, there's like I mentioned earlier, there's so many choke points on this map. Like, there's 6 right here in the middle, pretty much. And, 7, 8. Now, there's so many choke points on this map. Obviously, Navy, there's these, but... with Navy, there's really, there are choke points, but there really aren't choke points. So it's kind of depends. If it's like a super narrow channel, then yeah. But besides that, there aren't really any choke points in Navy. Looks like Team 1 is starting to claim this northwestern side. Looks like there's definitely a shift in momentum for them. Claiming all those mexes, getting all that additional reclaim. And to check the reclaim, we have 623 for Team 1, but Team 2 is able to actually get about 750, probably due to the fact that when they had that early map control, they were able to upgrade their mexes, their core mexes, a lot faster. So those early mexes were taken out, but since their core mexes and mexes in the back line have been upgraded significantly, they were able to compensate for that loss in map control. Looks like the Com of Strife is starting to be surrounded, but the units from Brobery are not focusing down the Com, and that's going to rev up the Com quite nicely. He's at 4 vet, and he's almost close to 5 stars. We're going with tactical missile defense for both players in the middle. No missile launcher aggression, which is very interesting. Usually you see somebody go for missiles, but it looks like both players have just decided to not use them. And those units out from the north have made it all the way to the main naval production factories of D. They are starting to be taken out, of course, with that extra firepower from these Salem class destroyers with their little legs. And the Com of Pathno is all the way to the front line. I'd say a little farther forward than they probably should be. Just due to the fact that if, they get overrun, all of those torpedoes are going to take out that Com. I feel like that's kind of a risky play. And the Com of Pathno, it does get pinged by Team 2. Looks like those subs might start... No, he still doesn't take any damage on his Com yet, so... But there are some torpedo bombers in the mix to help alleviate that pressure in the south. Again, roaming bands of ASFs starting to appear. I don't like having all of these ASFs out from Team 2 just kind of distracted by these interceptors. Just due to the fact that it leaves him vulnerable for strats, for gunships. And just take a couple of them, maybe like a squadron or even a flight, which is squadron, 12, flight, 6. I think I have that right. Answer down in the comments if I'm wrong. I think that's how it is. I think a squadron is 12 and a flight is 6. But I sometimes use those words interchangeably, so I do apologize. I'm trying to get better at making sure I use the same words, the same phrasing for the same things. A lot of the comms under shield protection for Team 2, except for Ferv. He's up there. Yeah, he's in. Yeah, everybody under shield protection except for Ferv on Team 2. Obviously, the Com of Pathno is on the front lines. He doesn't have... Is it a regen or? Yeah, it looks like there's like a regen. I think that's what... Let's see. Let's check. Yeah, it's advanced restoration field, so it enables a faster restoration of hit points in a larger area. And I think that's noted by the red icon, because the yellow is the dark red is the vision. So But he's using that comm as a way to heal his navy, which is actually a very good play. It's just risky because if Team 2 has a bunch of torpedoes, they can be like, oh, let's target the thing in the water. And you can see those torpedo bombers go after the comm, dropping them a little over 1,000, more of them dropping it all the time. There are, of course, a couple cruisers to help mitigate additional flybys. And yeah, Team 1 has now hit back on this northwestern side, trying to take map control back. We have a couple of these cruisers, these Salem class, just shooting down these interceptors. Would like to see a couple of them go back. Can they see that? They know something's kind of there. They do obviously see a couple of these mass extractors. One of them is devoted. I do like that, where they take one of the destroyers, focus down the rest of this, and move the rest of them forward. Especially because there is a build-up here in the north. No one's dead at 25 minutes, and that's kind of expected considering players are at least above the 1100 ranking. They're not going to risk a whole lot of risky plays with their comms. Again, more and more bombers all the time, trying to trickle in, taking out the comm of Path Nowhere. But unfortunately, especially with him on an upgrade for nano repair, they're not going to make a dent, especially with these cruisers in tow. They should have targeted the cruisers first and then gone after the comm. That would have been the better play. If they were T3 torpedo bombers, then there'd be a case for going after the comm. Those are very deadly. But the Aeon have those, so. We have a Strat Bomber out from Terminator here, over here in the middle, kind of just doing some patrolling over here. There are some flak. Would like to see some T3 anti-air as well. Looks like Ferv and Burberry are combining their forces. Would like to see one person claim them, and then that way the mid player can manage those more effectively, while pretty much the naval player at this point for focuses on the navy. Yeah, that Strat Bomber going over here, but again, those ASFs they're just ignoring it in this Strat Bomber. I don't know, where is this thing going? Because like it's going all the way over here, but you could easily come down, take out the rest of these mass points down here in the south, even all the way down over here. Like these are not even defended, and like these ones are a little bit at least, but and that Strat Bomber could be doing massive amounts of economic damage to the enemy player. Looks like the Salem class has dealt with the stealth field. I don't know what they were doing up here. There is a Blaze here in the mix. And that Blaze is going to get primary down and destroyed. Oh, it's named Jormungandr. Yeah, and the naming mods in that players have are sometimes really funny. And still base wars, but without a base on the southern side for Team 2. Still going down in the middle. Again, that's what I mentioned at some point. There's kind of a no man's land that occurs. Just fire, plasma gets exchanged. Wouldn't, again, not be surprised to see some naval, some players getting to the naval game. Pretty much 2 experimentals finishing about the same time for both of the middle plates. We have a Galactic Colossus for Broberry, and we have a Monkey Lord. Ooh, that's definitely outclassed by that Galactic Colossus. It'd be better if that was a Megalith at this point, but that Colossus is going to obviously be moved to the front lines if it gives the order to be moved, and it will assist in a push in the middle, most likely. At least that's what I would do with it. Comm of Strife, still 4 vet, trying to look for that 5th vet. Void in the random names. Trying to take out this little band of forces. It's T1, it's not really going to matter a whole lot. ASF's come over top to help assist that comm. It's very good to see that. Don't want any gunships or Strat Bombers coming in over the mix. And Team 1 over here in the east, starting to lose more and more ground. There's these cruisers just lobbing all of their ordnance at these defenses and infrastructure here in the southeast. Biplanes overhead trying to get a good readout on their enemy players. T3 on the way for Terminator, getting more hit points on that comm. And that Monkey Lord is at the front lines now for Team 2. These units probably should pull back here pretty soon or they're going to get overwhelmed. That laser opens up on the enemy units out for Team 2. That Galactic Colossus is walking in. Going to try to support. That Monkey Lord should probably start turning around right about now. It's a little above 5, like half of its hit points. It did get a ranking vet, so we'll get a decent amount of hit points back. Was able to kind of break that front line a little bit, but again, it doesn't really matter because that's in Team 2's territory. That reclaim will be scooped back up, and it won't really matter. T3 does finish for Terminator as well. We have, power gens, dooming an air grid. It looks like they did get some, Team 2 get some damage down onto this air grid, but it isn't going to matter a whole lot because they were able to, again, they're still defending in this middle section of the map. Not a lot of movement has happened in the past, like 15 minutes. Huge section of T1 frigates with some T2 units. Wait, yeah, there's a destroyer in there. But there's a T3 battleship just lobbing plasma at that little formation of frigates. Terminator finishes another experimental. Most likely it's another Monkey Lord. Yep, second Monkey Lord. We have that Galactic Colossus stomping his way to the front line. Decides, it's not real. Is it worth it? Is it not worth it? Yeah, taking out the shields. Would like to see some units support this Galactic Colossus, because what's going to happen is this Monkey Lord and all of this spam is just going to be funneled at this Galactic Colossus. Monkey Lord is damaged though, but it's using its long-range cannons to just do some damage to these units. And Team 1 brings in that other Monkey Lord, so both these Monkey Lords should regroup and try to target that Colossus. There's a couple of servers just tickling this little Colossus, but as you can see, the hit points on this thing aren't really falling very quickly. So, and then obviously it moves forward and takes them out as they zoom out. We do have a huge push on this eastern side out from Team 2. Sorry, Team 1 against Team 2 from Path Nowhere, just constantly putting all of that pressure down. We have T3 on the cards. He's going for a Neptune class ship, gonna be able to bap away a lot of these Team 1 and T2. So we have a bunch of torpedo bombers going after that comm once again. He's up to 15,000 hit points though, and he's gonna drop to about, he's in the yellow, about a little under 1,100. So they probably needed the triple amount of torpedo bombers to be able to really effectively kill that comm. Those two Monkey Lords are trying to outflank this Colossus, who's kind of having an issue with this little cliff emplacement over here. Its turret could probably take out those mass extractors. And again, this huge, it's not being supported. This Galactic Colossus has a lot of hit points, but it's not being supported. And all of these Harbingers are just kind of too late to the party. These shields could help support. And this Colossus probably did not need to die in this exchange. And now that's a decent amount of reclaim for Team 1 to scoop up. If Team 2 doesn't claim that, that's going to be definitely a mass dump. There are some engineering suites on these Harbingers. They can scoop up that mass as well. That is a feature. It's like the Mantis, but T3, and obviously stronger. But again, that mass is just going to sit there, at least as right now. We see those engineers already on the move to take that mass out. We have them move, like glitch those arms or whatnot. Or not. It's fine here, but you zoom out a little bit more and they're like, oh, a little icon's starting to like freak out there. Air fight kind of sort of on the cards, but there are a decent amount of cruisers in the mix down here as well. And we have, again, more of those missiles being lobbed at the economic structures of Team 2, so trying to whittle down that eco. And you can see Team 1 is caught up pretty much in the eco game. It's 1.2 or 1.3, most likely 1.4. Team 2 is leading the mass game, however, with 200,000 more mass. And there is a nuke launched from this Liberator in the back line for Team 2. Where is it going? It is most likely going... Where is it going? Oh, it's going for the opposite air grid. That's a very good play. Looks like there's SMD. There is also a strategic missile launcher for him as well. That SMD was just built. This is going to land. And at 32 minutes, you should probably have built that SMD first. Apologies for that. You probably should have built that SMD first. And unfortunately, because of that mistake, that nuke is going to land and take out all of this air grid. Kaboom. And it also is able to get the comm of Hannibalo as well. So that is a kill for Team 1. Also, at the same time, it looks like the calm of Strife just leaves for some reason. I don't know why. I mean, I don't like people who just leave. Was there like any conversation about that? No, he just straight up left. You can see there was no damage to any of the, you know, like to the nearby structures, at least besides this explosion. So he just straight up left. So very kind of disappointing. And you can see these 2 harbingers being used to scoop up this mass. Again, that's a very good play. They are able to actually use their guns at the same time as well. But this cliffside is just tall enough and it cannot hit any of those mass extractors or mass storage there. That's very disappointing again for Team 2, but they just killed the player and another player left. So it went from a 4v4 to a 4v2 in about like a minute. We do have huge movement out here to the southwest and pretty much the straight south. At this point, we have a destroyer. This Hathum out here doing lots and lots of damage. There's a Neptune class in the back line as well. Lots and lots of frigates out here, frigate spam. And it's kind of about even, but this aura regen that Path Nowhere has will definitely help keep these units alive for longer. Again, more and more efforts to take out the comm, but it's not really going to do a whole lot with all of this incoming flak and, of course, the cruisers that went somewhere. I guess they were killed, and it's still just a lot of straight up flak from that ground units. Another push out. Looks like we missed action here down to this middle section of the map. There was 3 Moleculoids versus this 1 Galactic Colossus, and was able to take out 1, but these 2 were able to prevail. All these units are going to say, it's 2 Moleculoids. They can kill this. This amount of units can kill both of these Moleculoids, but they're not being aggressive enough. The Harbingers aren't in position. The Sniper bots are way far forward. And there's still even more Harbingers in the back line, just not dealing enough damage. They're just not in position. And because of that, because the units are not in a good enough position, these Moleculoids are just going to roll right through all of these units. Now, I don't know why Strife left. Maybe it just lost connection. No idea, but it is very disappointing. There is progress being made on this north side for Team 1, so we kind of have this like yin-yang kind of like symbol going on where Team 1 now owns pretty much like the west side of the map, and Team 2 pretty much owns the east side of the map, where it was kind of split down the middle at a diagonal. And you'll see that as most matches go on, where like one side will have like the battle lines or the map control split will kind of shift angles. But massive amounts of torpedo bombers being used just to like push back the naval units out from Team 1, from Path Nowhere specifically. All these destroyers just taking hit after hit after hit. Where are the ASFs? The ASFs should be here, but I guess they were killed off, and especially due to the fact that that grid was destroyed as well. There is a couple battleships trying to stem the bleeding over here. A lot of economic damage has gone down. There's a nuke out from this Liberator again. Looks like it is going for the main base of Path Nowhere. Is there an SMD loaded? Most likely not. I don't see it anywhere. That's going to be an unfortunate loss for Path Nowhere as well. There are some, again, torpedo bombers trying to stem the bleeding for Team 1. But Team 2 they made a lot of progress down here on the southern side. Would have liked to see some more economic damage down here. But, you know, pushing up the front line, getting a bunch of engineers on reclaim orders. Would like to see some more cruisers in there to help counter out the torpedo fan. But it looks like the comm of Terminator says, nah, I'm kind of done. It's only going in one direction at this point, and he bows out, leaving it a 4v1 in favor of Team 2. Was your prediction right? Was it wrong? Did you think the match went the way you thought it would? Let me know down in the comments below, of course. And again, if you haven't subscribed as of yet, please do so. I greatly appreciate it. Looks like we have, again, bombardments going from multiple of these Galaxy class battleships. Let's see, how many are on the field? That's not the right thing. We have 7 currently just bombarding the coastline here. And they can deal a lot of damage. You know, the bright spot for Team 1, though, is that they were able to push all the way down to the south. They've made it pretty much all the way to the main production yards. There's a summit built as well in defense. But I would like to see maybe some, you know, T1 spam, some THAM spam. Just something to kind of, you know, deter all of this attacking force. And looks like we also have a disruptor on the cards, Foxtrot, out here down to the southwest for Atlantis as well. So, you know, we can pretty much see the direction that this game is kind of headed in. Or, I mean, you know, nothing's set in stone. You know, Team 1 could make a comeback, or Team 2 could make some mistakes. We have 2 comms in the water down here in the south. We have another comm just hanging out next to their factory. 3, all of the comms for Team 2 are in the water. All of the comms in the game are in this little corner of the map, which is, again, different. Usually you see the comm of Team 1 usually in the back line, but we see those destroyers and some cruisers out to the north. And those those cruisers need to be out in the front line. There are these flak, but they are facing off these whalers, these D3 gunships. They have a lot of hit points and deal a lot of damage very quickly. We have some Ravagers trying to mitigate all of this engineer spam for this reclaim. Unfortunately, it's just not enough. Team 2 still making some inroads, but it looks like we have Galaxy class being spammed up here to the south. You have 5 factories going to be built to spam out Galaxy classes. So this push is definitely not going to make a whole lot of progress. And again, especially with that artillery online here in the south, it just looks like this match is going to go one way. That's unfortunate because Team 1 was coming back, and then they just, I don't know if they weren't prioritizing eco enough or whatnot, but you can see the difference in eco. 1.6k, so 1,500 mass versus 130 royal bouts. That's more than 10 times the amount of generated eco, and you can see the difference. Almost 500,000 mass advantage for Team 2. So, you know, that you need eco, and then, you know, both a couple comms on Team 2 say GG. You can see we have the Galactic Colossus being like, I want to target stuff too. Come closer, please. He's a 5-star vet, Galactic Colossus. 150,000 hit points on that experimental. Comm of Path Nowhere makes it to the land. It has some Ravagers and some... Oh, they're T2. There's some artillery. And he just control Ks. He actually just disappears off the map. Bows out. And that is the game. Thank you so much for watching. It's, again, another one of those shorter ones. And, again, I'll promise on Monday I'll have a much longer one for you guys to watch. And, again, I felt like some short ones for... couple days, kind of giving a break, especially from those 2 longer ones that preceded these. Again, thank you so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. Sorry for the little cut there. My mouse veered off screen and I clicked by accident. And thank you so much for watching. Again, thank you so much for all the likes, the comments, the support, subs, anything and everything. Thank you so much. And I will see you all in the next one.